Hey craft artists, this is Sherri again, and I just wanted to show you the highlights and painting on the fork that I done in the last video. In this particular project, the last video we done the epoxy, mustache, nose, and hat parts. And of course twisting of the tines is just, however, just get the cheapest fork that you can get that'll twist easy with channel locks on here and needle nose pliers to twist. So today we're going to just do his highlights and painting of the face, and I'm using a light ivory, the base coat dark flesh, black, white, red, and a little bit of floating medium. I always keep a wet junk brush here on the side just to help clean up any little mistakes that you might make. And a liner brush and a toothpick for dotting. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is get into this light ivory and just load the brush up. I'm using an angled shader. It's a pretty small one. And just load the brush up with paint. I'm using one brush for the whole project pretty much, except my liner. I'll work on eyes and dots too. Just gonna take some of this paint out. We're doing a dry brush. And we're just going to go over and hit the high points of his mustache. Just hitting the high points here and leaving the dark value behind. Do the back too. And if you're not comfortable with this to start out, start on the back so that you get a feel for it. So we'll just start on the back for his beard. Again, just take some paint out of the brush and just wipe down. You're not painting, you're just dry brushing. And I like to hit the tips a little heavier with the lighter to pop it out a little bit. And on the back of his hair, come in a little bit heavier here. We'll just add some white lines later. The back doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, while that dries, I'm going to put another coat of red on his hat. I'm just using the same brush. Be sure to get the sides as well, and the back. Again, the back doesn't need to be perfect. You're just adding a little bit of color back here. Really no detail back here. Okay. While that ivory is continuing to dry, I'm going to float some color on his face. And there's two parts to this brush. The heel is the short section, and the toe is the long section. So we're going to dip the toe in red and the heel in floating medium, and blend back and forth. So you've got a wet side and a paint side. And I'm going to float some color right under his cheeks, or where his cheeks will be, but right behind the beard here. And see, I got some on the beard, so, or the mustache rather, sorry. Just clean that up with the wet brush. Up underneath the rim of his hat. And we're just adding a little color. And when that dries a little bit, I'll do some cheeks. But for now, we'll just move on to something else. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and do his nose also. So we're going to come back in here with the same float of red. And just in the deep crevices of the nose, just come around with that red. We're just floating color. Keep the color off of the mustache and off the main surface of his nose. We're just getting into the shadows here. These little highlights is what's going to set your project apart from others. Just gives it dimension and looks a little professional. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the light ivory again. I'm just going to kind of slap some white ivory or light ivory up here at the top of his nose. Stay out of the red, just in the tip. Touch it with your finger, dab it off a little bit. Just get a little premature with a highlight here, but take your liner brush and dip it in the paint. Get a nice little ball of paint on the tip and touch and pull. Little nose highlight. And just leave it alone. That's good enough for his nose. All right. Surface is dry here, so I'm going to go back into the red. Floating medium. And I've got the wrong brush. Goofy me. I was wondering why isn't that color showing up? This is another reason why I like to float with light colored brushes. You know where your paint is at all time. See how that paint just kind of soaks into the toe into that brush. So now we're going to come around here with a little bit of float for his cheek area. Keeping the color dark on the outside of the project. On the other side. There you go. Just gives it some highlight. And then you can come in here with a toothpick and just add a little bling right on his cheeks. Just makes them stand out so much nicer. Okay, I think we're kind of ready to move on to the white. The white is the last highlight that you're going to put on the beard and mustache and hat rim. So the same thing, just load the brush up and scrub it out. And if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, again, start on the back. And just dry brush the white. We're not covering the project. We're leaving all the other colors visible, just hitting some high points. You can see I got a little bit of red on his mustache. I'm just going to hit it with that base coat color. Okay, looks good. Okay. Coming to life a little bit. So I think I will work on his eyes. And what I do is I take my liner brush, the back end of it, dip it in black. The trouble with eyeballs is if you paint them on, you can, unless you draw them on, you're never going to get them the same size, and you're just playing with them too much. So the less you play with it, the better. And on tiny projects like this, I like bigger eyes because it's all about his face at this point. The highlights are just After Effects. So figure out where you want your eyes and just paint them on with the tip of your brush. And then the other one. So see how fast that was, and they're about the same size. And they don't need to be perfect. This isn't that kind of project. So now I'm going to go into the floating medium, pick up a little bit of the black. We'll work on his eyelashes. And he doesn't need eyelashes. I just like to do them. So I roll the paint, roll the brush till the paint just real fine tip. And the floating medium is going to help keep that paint wet for you. And you're just going to rest your fingers the best way you can and just flick them out real fast. And leave it alone. Don't go back and try to fix them. If you mess it up, just take some of that base coat paint or wet brush and take them off and do them again later. A little more floating medium. And make sure your brush looks exactly the way you need it to look when you go on there, or you'll mess your project up. Okay, one more out. Okay, good enough. Okay, we'll let his eye dry a little bit before we highlight it. And we'll be coming here with a little eyebrow, give him a little more character. noticed I didn't hit his hat with the white. And the white, you just want to be just right on the top. Leave some of that cream color on the sides, and of course that dark medium, or the dark tone, is in the back still. So now what I'm going to do is take the liner brush, make sure there's no black in it. Come in here with a clean medium and some white. I'm noticing I'm not super duper happy with his mustache. So I'm gonna maybe hit some of these back in high points with some highlights. I think he's looking pretty darn cute. Okay, the eyes are getting dry enough. So I'm just going to come in here with some white and dot on the right side of each eye. Just a tiny little dot. Oh no, guys, I think he looks done to me. I think I'm gonna call him done. Here's another one I finished the other day. Have fun. Leave some comments below if you have any questions.